I'm 81 years old, and let me tell you, I've seen it all. Life's been a wild ride, full of joy, heartbreak, and those quiet, fleeting moments that stick with you forever. I've danced at weddings, cried through funerals, and sat in the glow of a sunset, feeling the weight of the world lift for just a second. I've raised kids, built a home, and watched the years slip by like pages in a book I didn't realize I was writing. But there's one choice, one moment, that still gnaws at me, even after all this time. The day I moved into a nursing home. It's not just a decision, it's a turning point that reshapes everything. At the time, it felt like the right call. My family, bless their hearts, wanted the best for me. They promised care, safety, and comfort. A place where I wouldn't have to worry about falling down the stairs or forgetting to take my pills. "You'll be looked after, Mom," they said, their voices full of love and concern. I trusted them. I packed up my memories, photos of my late husband, my kids' old drawings, the quilt my mother made, and I left the home I'd known for decades. I thought I was stepping into a new chapter, one where I'd be safe and surrounded by care. But what I found was something else entirely. A stranger's world. One I didn't belong in. If you're reading this, chances are you're facing a similar choice, either for yourself or someone you love. Maybe you're weighing the pros and cons, listening to promises of round-the-clock care and a worry-free life. It sounds perfect, doesn't it? A place where every need is met, where you or your loved one can rest easy. But before you sign on the dotted line, before you pack up a lifetime of memories, let me share the lessons I've learned. 6 painful truths I wish I'd known before I made that choice. My story isn't just mine. It could be a wake-up call for you or someone you care about. Stay with me, because these truths might just change the path you're on. Lesson 1. A nursing home isn't just about care. It's a new life you didn't choose. When I moved into the nursing home, I thought it was about getting help with the little things, someone to cook my meals, remind me about my meds, maybe help me get around when my knees started acting up. But it's not just about care. It's a whole new way of living, one that strips away the life you knew. My home was my sanctuary, full of creaky floors, familiar smells, and the view of the oak tree I'd watched grow for 40 years. The nursing home? It's a sterile box with fluorescent lights, shared spaces, and schedules that don't bend to your rhythm. You lose the freedom to live on your terms. Want a late-night cup of tea? Good luck. Kitchens are locked after 7 p.m. Feel like watching your favorite show at 2 a.m.? The TV's in a common room, and it's off limits after hours. Even the small stuff, arranging your furniture, hanging your pictures, gets regulated. My room felt like a hotel, not a home. And once you're in, you're not just a resident. You're part of a system. Your life gets molded to fit their rules, not the other way around. Lesson 2. Independence slips away, and it's hard to get it back. I've always been a stubborn one, independent to a fault. I raised 3 kids, managed a household, and even learned to fix a leaky faucet when my husband was too busy. But in the nursing home, independence is a privilege, not a right. The staff decides when you eat, when you bathe, when you go to bed. They mean well, but it's like being a kid again, only without the promise of growing up. I remember the first time I wanted to go for a walk outside. I had to wait for an aide to be free, fill out a form, and get approval. By the time they got around to it, the sun was setting, and I'd lost the urge. Little by little, you stop trying. You stop asking. And that spark, the one that kept you going through life's ups and downs, starts to fade. I used to think I could leave if I wanted to, but once you're in, the logistics of moving out are a nightmare. You're tethered to the system, and breaking free feels like climbing a mountain with no gear. Lesson 3. The promises of community. Don't always hold up. They sell you on the idea of community. Group activities, shared meals, new friends. And sure, there are bingo nights and holiday parties, but community isn't something you can force. Most of the folks here are just as lost as I was, trying to make sense of a life that doesn't feel like theirs anymore. Some are too sick to connect. Others just keep to themselves. I've made a couple of friends, but it's not the same as the neighbors I used to chat with over the fence, or the church group I sang hymns with every Sunday. And let's talk about the staff. They're busy, overworked, underpaid, and stretched thin. They try, but they don't have time to sit and talk, to really know you. I miss the conversations I used to have with my daughter over coffee, or the way my grandson would burst through the door with a story. Here, interactions feel transactional. You're a name on a chart, a task to be checked off. The community they promise often feels like a room full of strangers, each carrying their own regrets. Lesson 4. Your identity takes a hit. At home, I was Helen, mom, grandmother Har, gardener, the lady who made the best peach cobbler in the county. In the nursing home, I'm resident 204. My identity, built over decades, started to erode. No one here knows the stories behind my photos or why I keep a pressed flower in my Bible. The staff don't know I used to dance to Elvis records in my living room or that I once drove across the country on a whim. You become a collection of needs, meds to take, meals to eat, appointments to keep. It's not just the staff. You start to lose yourself too. Without the routines and roles that defined you, you feel like a shadow of who you were. I used to love tending my garden, even when my back ached. Now the closest I get is a potted plant in the common room and someone else waters it. The things that made me me, my quirks, my passions, don't have a place here. And that loss? It's heavier than any physical ailment. Lesson 5. Family dynamics change, and not always for the better. My kids pushed for the nursing home because they loved me. They worried about me living alone, and I get it. I'd fallen a couple of times, and my memory wasn't what it used to be. But once I moved in, something shifted. Visits became less frequent. They'd call, sure, but it wasn't the same as having them pop by for dinner or to fix a squeaky door. I think they felt relieved, like they'd solved the problem of me getting older. But I felt like I'd been outsourced. It's not their fault. Life's busy. Jobs, kids, mortgages, and the nursing home makes it easy for families to step back. The staff handles the day-to-day, so there's less need for them to be hands-on. But I miss being part of their lives, not just a check-in on their to-do list. And deep down, I wonder if they feel guilty too. The nursing home changed our family's rhythm, and I don't think any of us were ready for that. Lesson 6. Regret is a heavy burden. Here's the hardest truth. I regret moving here. Not because the care is bad or the staff are unkind, though there are days when both could be better. I regret it because I gave up too much of myself. I let go of my home, my routines, my way of life, thinking I was trading it for safety. But safety isn't everything. Living, really living, with all its risks and messiness, is what keeps you whole. I wish I'd fought harder to stay in my home. I could have gotten help, home health aides, meal deliveries, maybe even moved in with my daughter for a while. I didn't know those options were out there, or I didn't think they were enough. Now, I see folks my age still living in their houses, still tending their gardens, still being part of the world. And I wonder what might have been if I'd held on tighter. A path forward. What you can do. If you're considering a nursing home for yourself or someone you love, don't make the same mistake I did. Take a step back and ask the hard questions. Can you stay at home with support? Are there home care services, adult day programs, or family members who can pitch in? Look into options like aging in place programs or community resources, things I wish I'd explored. Visit nursing homes, but don't just tour the shiny lobby. Talk to residents, watch the staff, feel the vibe, and most importantly, listen to your heart. What do you need to feel like you? If you're helping a loved one make this choice, don't let fear drive the decision. Yes, aging comes with risks, falls, forgetfulness, frailty. But a nursing home isn't a cure-all. It's a trade-off, and it's not always the right one. Keep your loved one in the driver's seat as much as possible. Their voice matters. Their life matters. My hope for you. At 82, I've learned that life is about holding on to what makes you you for as long as you can. My home was more than a house. It was my anchor, my story, my heart. Moving to a nursing home felt like letting go of all that, and I'll carry that regret forever. But you don't have to. Whether you're planning for yourself or someone you love, my story is a chance to pause, to think, to choose differently. I don't have all the answers, but I have this. 6 lessons, hard-earned and honest. A nursing home isn't just about care. It's about losing pieces of yourself you might never get back. If you're standing at this crossroads, take your time. Talk it through. Explore every option. And above all, hold tight to the life you've built. It's worth fighting for.